Welcome to Minority Corner, where we dive into the news, pop culture, history, and more, all from an intersectional lens. It's our 300th episode, live streaming from Oasis TV, with your host, self-proclaimed sexy blurred, that's a black nerd, James Arthur M. And sitting in the guest co-host chair, she's back, original OG creator, Nnekay FitzClarke. And now it's time to learn, laugh, and play. Here's your host, me, James Arthur M.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 300th episode of Minority Corner, coming at you live. You can see my face. This might be a new experience for those of you who are listening to just used to listening to me. Those of you who've never seen me or heard me before, welcome. Get used to this face. I am your host, James Arthur Martin, host of Minority Corner, the podcast, and I couldn't imagine doing this show without the OG of Minority Corner herself. She's here today. We did 200 episodes together. The co-creator. She helps us to get information. She's a proud mama and our neighborhood librarian, Nnekay FitzClarke. Hey, girl, hey.
I feel like I got to do like my Beyonce dance, like information.
Just getting in there for the people.
I'm so happy to be here with you, James. Also,
yes.
200 plus.
Well, I know, but it was like 200 back to back.
Yeah, because I haven't been missing for 100 episodes.
No,
it's not like it's like I'm back again.
Because the kids want you. The corner kids want you. I still got to get you in.
What?
Can you believe 300 episodes? Here's Minority Corner. And when we first started doing the show, well, we started thinking about doing the show.
Yes.
Poolside with some cocktails.
Okay, you know
6 years ago.
First of all, let's give a shout out to Oakland.
Yes.
You were spending a summer in Oakland.
Had to get away. My house was being, renovated, retrofitted. It was falling apart.
Yeah, it was sinking into the ground.
They were like, get out of here. Go to Oakland.
And I was like, welcome. Come to Oakland. And we just like hung out by the pool because I didn't have any kids. It was summertime Nnekay. I still was off during the summertime.
Living your best life.
Take me back.
Okay. Your daughter's adorable.
She's
It.
great.
Stop and crying about this. And we were like, oh, this is so fun. We talk about everything. We talking about, all the conversations, politics,
and
pop
we funny
culture,
too.
Everything. And we're so funny.
And we cute.
But on a podcast, they don't get to see us.
We got cute voices.
But you get to see us now. Them's the noises, folks. Oh man,
coming out of our mouth.
But we were like, yeah, let's start a podcast, and here we are. And you know what? They said it wouldn't last.
They said it wouldn't last. Then
I
had to
prove them wrong.
Well, I left.
And then you left.
But I came back.
You did. You came back. But to quote Janet Jackson, they said they wouldn't last. In fact, so we joined Maximum Fun about a year into the show.
Yeah.
Someone literally said it would not last. We got a review, and they were like, this won't last at Maximum Fun. Murder.
Well, what's that person doing?
Boom. What you doing? What's your show?
What you doing? It's 6 years later.
Still
where
here.
are you?
And I have to say, how many, and bless the hearts of people who have started their podcast. So many people have come. So many
Here
shows.
we go. Shade alert.
How did you know? No, but you know what?
Shade alert. Bless those hearts.
So many people were like, I'm starting a podcast. And I'm just like, okay, all right. It's a lot of work and dedication.
Believe me.
300 episodes.
I know. I mean, I'm like teaching classes at the college now.
Okay, professor.
I mean, I'm coming in. I'm like a guest. The students listen to the podcast, which is a little embarrassing because I'm like on the podcast being like, titties and butts, fuckity fuck. And then
don't be a fucking racist. Do more, white people.
It's like, fuck the white supremacy.
Yeah,
and then I have to come in and be like, citations.
Yes.
So this is how you cite this.
Yeah.
But like I actually teach people how to do podcasts now because of this in my work with you. So I'm like super thankful for all of this that we've done from like grassroots.
It's literally like, those like garage bands, and we actually used to literally edit our show on garage band.
Yes.
But like we like started this in our garage, and now, here we still are. And so many shows have come and gone.
We're like a tech company
Michelle
in the garage.
Obama. I mean, her show came and went.
You know what? Her husband.
Stay in your lane, Michelle. You
her
stay
husband.
In your lane.
She's busy doing waffles and mochi,
which I love.
Have you seen it?
I haven't. You have. Is Maya into that?
No.
Okay. She's a little too. She needs more cartoons.
Is she too young? It's a cooking show for babies, so I don't know.
She's not ready for cook. She got to cook right there.
No, I'm not.
Okay. On to our next subject. We'll leave that one right there.
I am not a cook.
Okay, that's totally fine. You do your
I can
best.
cook. I can cook. I don't
Okay.
like to, but I can cook.
Right.
You know, I can.
Well, maybe you need to watch
Open
this
a
Michelle
box.
Obama show.
I have the waffles and mochi.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Yeti and a waffle
Okay.
is a character, and I'm sitting there watching it with my kid, and I'm like, did the Yeti have sex with a waffle? Who got pregnant?
Yeah.
Did it just
That's
was a
season-
waffle egg
That
born?
is season 2. That is season 2.
Just the origins of waffles,
Mhm.
and then they named it waffle.
I
They're
don't
like,
know.
you're a waffle.
You're asking too. Your daughter is not asking these questions, adult Nnekay.
This is what-
This is like when
James,
like
no.
like this is like when Roger Ebert doesn't need to like be reviewing.
No, but this is
Trolls.
what happens. And speaking of trolls, I've seen Trolls 1, 2, and Trolls
How
Holiday.
many times?
Millions.
Okay.
To the point where I have a theory, complex theories about trolls, where it's like it's almost like a death cult. Like they really go into what is life, what is death.
Okay.
And like, you know, there are people that are trying to eat them, and then like one character actually makes it to heaven and then comes back and is upset.
Is this in Trolls or
Yes.
Waffles and Mochi?
Trolls.
Oh.
So that's what I'm getting at. You watch these things so many times that you just start to like think about thesis and thesi and like how did they come up with this? And it just
You've seen it. You've been there.
I know.
You've been it. Well, before you were Mama Nnekay, you were my sister friend Nnekay.
I still am.
That's true. You can't have
You
too
were
many
like,
titles. What
it
are you,
just ends.
Daenerys? Like, gosh,
I am.
You
I'm your
can't.
aunt. I am
Wait,
your
what?
queen. I am the dragon mother. I am
are
the
the
woman
mother-
of fire breathe.
Oh God, yes, you are the mother of corner kids, I guess.
Doesn't
Yeah.
Game of Thrones feel like 10 million years ago?
I don't want to talk about
Okay,
it today.
right.
We're not down that tangent. I see. Keep it back online. 300 episodes and still tangents galore. It be happening.
I can't help myself.
Okay, but when we first started the show,
Yes.
we're gonna put your serious hat on.
Okay, it's on. Is it big enough for my hair?
Yes, it is. Looking cute there. What is that? Okay.
I'm on. Okay.
See, I always want to say no. We're not gonna tangent. We're gonna stay on
I'm-
board.
Okay, we got to do a
No.
tangent. Okay, all right.
Okay.
all right.
I always want to be like, okay, like I see you over there, like Huxtable, but
Which Huxtable?
Tempest.
Okay,
Tempest.
all right.
What?
We'll do that.
Name a bad Huxtable.
Cliff.
Okay, I know, but I meant like one that I would say that you would
Okay,
be.
all right.
I wouldn't be like, oh, is that Cliff Huxtable over there?
I mean, gender norms, I don't know.
That's true.
I like a
Segment
sweater.
dumb. Okay.
Okay.
Which is why I do think we should rebrand that show as just the Huxtables.
Yes, I like it.
Because
Like what they
those-
did with the Connors.
Yes, and like because you know what, some of those folks still need their checks because they get check. Homeboy is stocking shelves. Alvin, he's stocking shelves.
I know.
'Cause he
What's
used to have that
Malcolm
residual
Jamal
money.
Warner doing right now?
Stocking. Applying to stock them shelves, which ain't nothing wrong with that. But pandemic. Anyways, serious hat. See, tangent back. Here we go.
We're back again.
Y'all keeping up there? Is everyone
Tag
keeping up?
team,
You
back
know?
again. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-bum,
And if
ba-dum.
you are watching this live, you can join in on the conversation, that little chatty chat box. So are you too many tangents? More? What do you want? Tell us. It's choose your own Minority Corner adventure. Serious hat. Can we get there?
Yes,
All right.
it's there.
All right. When we first started the show, a lot of it was on the heels of Michael Brown.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
Because it
yes.
was such a revelation. And a lot of the podcasts that you and I were listening to, or the media that we're taking in, intersectionality just wasn't there. If we were listening to a feminist podcast or a gay podcast, there was no conversations around this, and this was heavy. I mean, it was I'll never forget that week or that moment, right? It was this huge revelation, and that was part of the genesis of us starting this show.
Yeah.
And here we are, 6 years later. And we just had this whole entire year after the murder of George Floyd,
Oh,
and
God.
we just had the trial verdict of
Right.
the murder of George Floyd with the Derek Chauvin trial.
Yes.
I try not to say his name, but there it is.
I'm
But
okay with getting
what-
his name out there because we need to recognize the criminals and not,
Right. Yeah. It's just like, it always just bugs me because it's like I remember the Dylan Roofs. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember all of the people who were murdered at that church. You know?
100%, I get
so
you.
it's like that's my whole entire thing. But we talked about this last week on the show. What were sort of your after this verdict, your
Yeah.
initial thoughts and reactions?
No, I'm glad that you brought that up because this is something, Minority Corner covers all the different prisms that are out there. But specifically, we created this show because we're black and we wanted to talk about black issues. And I think that black history and black stories are American history and American stories, and everybody needs to be talking about it too. It's not like it's a taboo to talk about it if you're not black.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought it up, even though you talked about it last week. because I have a unique perspective that's different from when we started the podcast, because now I'm a mom,
Right.
you know, and I have a daughter, or whatever she chooses to identify as. I have a child, and my child is Black. And it's one thing to be yourself and to operate into the world, but to have something that is of you, that you are raising in this world, that you want the world to be a better place, it crushes you.
Yeah.
It really kind of compacts everything and makes it into more of a reality. Like, on a lighter note, I was bullied when I was in middle school.
How was that a lighter note?
Not gunned down by police.
Oh, okay.
Let's,
Yeah.
but
But
you know,
also went to school during, Columbine, where we could go to
It's
school
true.
thinking that we can get shot.
it's true. But for Columbine, it wasn't racial.
Yes.
There isn't like the targeted,
right.
you know.
Does make you stand out that much more.
Right.
And so are you thinking, like, for yourself, this is the world that your daughter.
Right. So it's one of those things where it's like, I got bullied and it's myself, and I'm like, ooh, that sucks, but it's, or like, oh, I'm out in the world and I'm doing my own thing, and that sucks that it could be targeted to me. But I want to protect this being with all of my body, with everything. But I know in some instances, because of my own life that I've lived, I won't be able to.
Right.
And that freaks me out. It freaks me out that one day she might be out there in the world without me there to protect her, and somebody who has the job assigned to protect her might harm her. And that really fucks me up.
Yeah.
And especially with the right after the verdict, we have
Nnekay Bryant, 16 years old. Yeah.
a baby. And that also brings into the other politics that Black women don't really, I'm glad it's getting talked about now, because Black women have always felt the brunt of like over-sexualization, adultification.
Oh, yeah.
All of this stuff. I even remember when I was in 5th grade, I was a good kid, but my teacher sent me to the principal's office. Outside of that door, she walked out there with me and said, I sent you out as an example, so the rest of the class will know that even a good kid like you can get sent to the principal's office. And I took with me that, like, oh, that's a good thing, until later it started to dawn on me. It was like, no, she singled me out because I was the only Black kid in that class, and she could get away with it.
And well, it goes back to, for yourself, you have to be flawless, right? You look at the Obamas; they had to be flawless. They couldn't have done half of this, shit that this last person, did. And I want to talk about something that you had brought up about, the way that the Washington Post. There was a study that recently came out about at the rate that Black kids in particularly are adultified,
Yes.
right? And so when we talk about the Nnekay Bryant situation, she was 16 years old. She was the one that actually had called the cops. She was in a foster home. She was being harassed by these other girls. She did have a knife. And I do kind of want to call attention to this other thing that Don Lemon had said.
Okay, what did
and
he say?
essentially, and and this is the thing. Black people are not a monolith.
No.
And even if, Don Lemon and I are like on the same parts of the intersection,
Okay, yeah.
But we're going to disagree on this one, Don Lemon, because essentially
What did he say?
Well, his whole entire thing was, he said, when I look at this video, I see police responding to a dangerous incident where someone is armed with a knife. Police have walked up on a situation. They need to figure out what's happening. Other lives are in danger. He said, we have to be honest and use our common sense. We cannot have a double standard. We have to acknowledge police have jobs to do.
No, boo.
And
Womp, womp.
But I do wonder, he said this last week, so I wonder there's been a lot of conversation about this in particular. And maybe he had to go on air, and this was his initial thoughts and his initial reactions. But if you still look at it, why did a 16-year-old girl who had a knife, I bet there are crazy white ladies who have knives all the time,
not even
and
that.
they don't get shot.
Nope. The examples are right there. All these
Dylan Roof Boom.
Killed people, taken to Burger King.
The Kenosha guy. The guy, who was the guy? Like he had
all of these white men with guns.
Rifle. He was like, I just shot 2 people. The protesters.
Literally every single white guy with a gun does not get shot. You go to the insurrection on the Capitol,
helping them down the stairs
with big old guns. This little girl had a knife. And for a cop to say, I was afraid of a little girl with a knife, and I know all of you are like, oh, 16, I watch Euphoria. They be fucking and doing drugs.
They're babies.
Have you worked in a high school?
And too, so, and kids do also, like, stupid shit. Your brain's not finished forming until you are 26. So actually, 25-year-olds do stupid shit, right?
I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I got a master's degree, but I also did some dumb shit.
You know what?
But
that master's degree saved your life because you were like, I gotta go to school. Otherwise, you would have been out doing some stupid shit.
Pussy in the wind. But so I wanted to tell you though.
What do you want to tell me?
Just you. Just you and all these people listening into our conversations.
Yeah.
But I worked in a high school.
Okay, what's the tea? They're crazy.
They are awkward and young, and anytime anybody's talking about a teenager that's sexy, I'm like, just go to the high school, sit down, and I'm sorry if you're a teenager and you're listening to this and you're watching this, but you ain't sexy.
You're not. You're
you
a
are
child.
awkward.
You know what it is Hollywood has done a bad job of casting. They cast like Andrea Zuckerman on 90210, and she's 30.
She was 30.
High schooler.
Zendaya?
So we're like,
get out of here, Zendaya.
I like it when they cast
you in your 20s.
I like it when they cast kids that actually look like kids. And you're
Degrassi.
Like, yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. Here's some stats, just about, this 20%. So in the Columbus division is where Ma'Khia Bryant was murdered, right? Mm-hmm. And two, like, kids fight and stuff like that. Like, it just is insane that she had to lose her life, that there has to be better solutions than I just gotta shoot this person.
Hello.
Right? And 20% of the city's residents are black, but 70% of people killed there are black.
That don't add
by
up.
Cops, right? So 70% of the people killed by cops are black. The Washington Post reported that, I was talking about this, that cops see black children as adults.
Yep.
And only 1 in 4 of kids killed by police are white. I think there should be no children murdered by police. So white people, that should make you angry too. They getting you too. They got you. They're getting everybody. And black people are only just 13% of the population, right? So it's just overly represented. Mm-hmm. And a 2020 study showed that black kids are 16 times more likely to be killed by whites, and Latinx folks 3 times as likely. Children, right? It's the whole entire system. The roots are rotten, and we need to completely just uproot the whole entire system.
Yeah, it's time to repot the plant. Like, things are not right. Things need to be solved. I can understand people do not like change. Mm-hmm. People are freaked out by change. They don't want to hear abolish the police because they're like, who's going to protect me? But here's the thing. Police aren't protecting you.
Well, and sometimes change is good. You know what? Abolish slavery. I like the way that sounds.
That sounded great.
That's a really good one.
I know.
But there are people who were dragging their feet about that, and they couldn't. And that's the thing that we have to remind ourselves is, like, where did our imaginations go? Didn't we all used to play Power Rangers and be like, I'm a princess and I'm Storm, or, just...
Sure, yeah, okay.
But, using our imagination.
Teenage Ninja Turtles, but all right.
Okay, we all had our things. But, like, we used to use our imagination. We have to imagine the world that we want to live in and not just accept what it is. Because there was a time when people thought they couldn't imagine what a world with no slavery. That does. I don't even understand how that would work. What would they do? Or like a world without Jim Crow. Like, what are you talking about? That's insane. This is the system. And we have to do the same thing.
Yeah! Yes.
All right, got a Nnekay's vote.
Yes, front of the line.
You'll vote for that, but no Caitlyn Jenner for governor?
She can sit down.
She can takes.
Spicy takes with Nnekay FitzClarke.
She does need to sit down. Like, we don't run Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay,
don't run.
How the sausage is made, James full on, early on was like, I'm not talking about Caitlyn Jenner.
I told
and
everybody
here you
in
go.
production, I was like, we are not talking about Caitlyn Jenner. We will not give her the time of day. No. But the
time of day has been given.
Well, we're just talking about the caucasity that she had of, like, you know what? I'm going to run for governor.
What the hell has she been doing?
5th largest economy, going to run for the governor of California.
Get out of here.
Everybody, Gavin Newsom, I know he shouldn't have gone to that restaurant, but y'all don't forget to vote this next November election.
What is this, a runoff or recall?
It's a recall, which means, like, I believe...
What happened last time? We got Schwarzenegger as president.
You know what? California love a recall. They're just like, we can't help ourselves. We're like, ooh, recall.
Because
You know what? We have recalls. We have them. You know what they're actually called?
What?
elections.
Ooh.
You just vote when there's an election. That's how the system works. Like,
I know.
we love, you know what it is? California is one of the easiest ways for the threshold for a recall to qualify.
Oh, is that why?
That is why we have recalls
well,
all the ding dong
I just I don't want, because of the recall last time Schwarzenegger signed my
I
my
have 2
diploma.
degrees. I have 2 degrees with Schwarzenegger, the governor.
He wasn't that bad though.
Agreed.
He was okay.
Yeah. All right, switching gears here.
Oh man,
We gotta switch it up.
I'm in the passenger
You
seat.
come on.
Beep, beep, beep,
Yeah, because you know
here in
what?
the wind.
I guess I'm the Falcon and you're the Winter Soldier. Look at that arm. I
Flexing
think
my
it's that
bionic arm.
I think it's the other arm.
No, remember he said there was a throwaway line.
Because he said he's not left-handed. He's left-handed.
No, he said
He
he's
doesn't
not
think
left.
to use it.
Where am I?
Fact check us. Get the tweets. His left arm.
I won't be following
This
up.
will be another look. You know, it wouldn't be a reunion with us without getting into a debate, an argument
Over
of
the
sorts.
silliest thing.
You can go to the archives. Nnekay and I have like heated fights. Never about anything that's
Never.
important.
Is it politics? No.
No.
Is it like
It's-
preference? It is
I
the
think that-
silliest.
yes, I was like, oh, I think there's not enough background extras in the Star Wars movies that are diverse.
And I was like, I'm fine with it. You got mad over Tesla having a pigeon girlfriend?
so here we are. Yeah, Tesla. No, whatever. We won't resurface that one. Okay, Falcon and Winter Soldier. The finale happened.
Yes.
Okay, and you know what?
Spoilers.
No spoilers.
Aww.
No spoilers.
I wanna
We're
do
not
a
doing- No, just okay. Get into the mind frame of like episode 1 or 2. Don't go all the way far. Okay, you can do that. You got
Okay,
that.
I can speak vague.
And you know what? We have to give this caveat because, as we know, Nnekay spoiled WandaVision for me in one text. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm bringing this up again.
I know.
This is always like that episode of Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell when she came on to Tyra.
I
she was
need
like,
that camera.
"We need
Give me a camera to look into right now.
Oh no, this
Because-
is okay.
James said he wouldn't talk about this. He's just.
Okay, all right, let's move on. We gotta keep the show moving.
I'm gonna talk about something right
Okay.
now.
Oh, don't you do this! I saw where your eyes went.
Let's look at this shirt
What about
that
this
James is
shirt?
wearing.
It's cute, isn't this shirt cute?
James is wearing a shirt that says "Side Eye Your Heroes" that I made up, and I might have said, "Hey, James, let's wear our Side Eye Your Hero shirts." To which James, very fast, said, "No, I don't think that's a good idea."
That is not what the sound of my text was.
That's what it sounded
That
like
is
to me.
Not the sound of my text. No, I just was like, no, I don't think it's a good idea because you know what it is. I didn't want us. We're already okay. Bringing out the beer. Okay, I didn't want us to be too matchy. First and foremost, the Side Eye Your Heroes. This is a cute slogan that Nnekay coined on the show. And it is very on brand, but I just didn't think it'd be cute for us to be, we are the Wonder Twins of podcasting, but us to be in like match shirts.
Well, then why
like-
didn't you say that then?
But then, as I was scrambling to get ready, I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna wear? Oh, that Side of Your Hero shirt. That looks cute. Oh, I'll put that on. Oh, Nnekay will be so mad.
And then here comes the emoji, the like emoji.
Don't be
You know what?
mad.
It looks good on you.
Thank
and then I
you.
get to wear my Buns
You're
and
too
Roses
cute
shirt.
for this shirt.
Buns and Roses shirt. Buns and Roses
Is
shirt.
this
Made by
like QVC
Pearl.
Network now.
Pearl Merrill.
who was a guest on I think episode 10.
I would say she's a friend of Oasis TV.
She's danced on these stages before. Okay, Falcon and Winter Soldier happened.
Yes.
And what I love about Falcon and Winter Soldier, it is after the first episode, I was like, who wrote this? Must have been a black man because it is unapologetically blackity black.
It's so black.
It's actually, I would dare to say this. Fight me on this, listeners, watchers. It is the blackest thing that Marvel has done, and I say that including Black Panther.
I agree.
Okay, there it is. No fight necessary.
No fight necessary because Black Panther is very much like, well, it's a fake country.
Right.
Sorry.
It's
Spoilers.
Afrofuturism. It's
Wakanda's not real.
We had to imagine a place where we could be
Yeah,
free.
exactly.
Because it don't exist here.
Nope. Chadwick Boseman is from America. Anyway, so
Rest in
R.I.P.
power.
Oscars.
Oscars. I like the Oscars. I tried to do. I didn't watch because I have already been scarred from the Oscars with the La La Land debacle. So I was like, oh, you'll not get me ever again. And then I'm glad I didn't because once again they rearranged the awards because they thought that Chadwick Boseman was going to win.
Anthony Hopkins.
And then like he's got time. He got time to win again. Like I didn't see The Father.
Neither did I.
I
It looks
mean,
sad.
Chadwick Boseman gave a performance of a lifetime in that Ma Rainey's Black
did a
Bottom.
really good
that
job.
monologue is so eerie because that was the last movie that he did.
Oh my God, the whole thing is just
So Oscars,
Watch it. Go watch it.
Oscars messed up. They were what
Viola
an
Davis.
anticlimactic moment to end on because they were like, and then Anthony Hopkins wasn't even there at the Oscars.
he didn't even get to pick it up.
Because one, he probably didn't think he was going to win, and two,
He didn't. He said so the next
he
day.
also didn't want to be the one to be like, oh, sorry that.
Yeah,
I
who
got
wants
this.
that?
Awkward. But Falcon Winter Soldier,
Okay, so it is blackety black because one, it takes place in
America,
real black people,
yes.
and also they have him do blackety real black things. Like they
Try
go.
to get
This
a
is
bank loan.
yeah. This is not a spoiler.
No, it's
Falcon
not.
goes to the bank and gets denied a loan, which is black.
Oh yeah, that's an experience. Not that I've been there, but
I
people
haven't,
have
but
been
we
there.
know people who have.
Yes, absolutely. And he gets stopped. This isn't a spoiler either. Let's just talk about the black things that happen in the show. Black ass marching band, right?
Yes.
Episode 1. He gets stopped by the police. And
Yes.
gets like racially profiled by the police. Bucky's standing right there, like, oh no, you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
we need to see you. All that sort of jazz and
It's
stuff.
so true.
And then also the erasure of black history that also the show
Yes.
touches upon, about how perhaps there was someone before Captain America.
Touches on a lot of black history that might feed into the black community's,
Experience.
I would say, hesitancy towards the vaccination because of the history of that.
Get vaccinated. All I will say.
Get vaccinated,
We
but-
are both highly vaccinated and melanated. Ooh, see that? There we are, getting them vaccines.
Blackety black
This has
summer,
been brought to you
blackety
by
black
Anthony
summer.
Fauci. But like here's what I want to say. I at the very last, I wasn't expecting this.
Okay.
This isn't a spoiler. But the very last thing that happens in the very last episode. You're like, you sure this isn't a spoiler? Remember, I'm like, Nnekay, don't you spoil
You
nothing.
are an
Don't you spoil anything.
unreliable narrator. I am in a
Okay.
vortex. Okay.
Okay. I cried.
I cried too.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching it. I was not expecting it. And in fact, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. And I didn't realize the journey of this story, what it meant to me as a black man in this country, as a black person in this country, what they do with that story. I didn't even realize that I needed that to be seen, because Sam his journey gets seen. Like when Bucky is like, yeah, we didn't, he references him being black.
Yeah, they
And-
actually talk about him being a black man, which
you
is
hadn't seen throughout all of like it was like, whoa, racism.
just to hear
Yes.
a white character say, "You as a black man,"
Yes.
like,
He's like,
kabam!
I didn't know what it'd be like for you as a black man to hold the shield, right? Like what?
It's like being recognized.
Yes, being seen in that whole entire journey, and it dives into like, what does that mean if a black man were to be Captain America, and that journey and that struggle. And I feel like Marvel's doing such a great job in terms of these TV shows, like WandaVision dealing with trauma.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah,
dealing
yeah,
with just
yeah.
like the
Grieving.
genuine black experience.
I
Like,
want to also point out, and you just bringing this up, there's a lot of things, this isn't a spoiler, but there's a lot of things in Falcon and Winter Soldier where it's just regular black experience. There's a lot of fantastical stuff. It's Marvel,
Yeah, but,
but
him and his sister and
yeah,
him being an
that's
uncle.
It's just in his nephews not having any. They're just kids.
Yeah.
That they're just kids running around
They
being
weren't
kids.
like,
There's
"Oh,
like
I'm trying to be a basketball player.
or like gangbang,
You gotta stop doing
selling
them
rocks.
drugs,
You know,
little
no,
Sam.
they're just like kids, which is very
We've maybe
just.
moved away from blaxploitation finally. Took,
Yay.
4 decades. Yeah.
It just felt real. There's
Yeah.
some other. I have some
Oh.
notes on the show, but we don't have to get into that.
It needs more gay characters across the board. Marvel. We're
There's a
waiting.
plot line that got a little
Well,
foggy.
but you know what happened? So if you're watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're like, something doesn't make sense. They had to reshoot. Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out in August of last year. It was going to be for WandaVision. They had to do reshoots of it. Oh, you know this because we
Yeah, I
watch the
mean,
same YouTube channel.
I'm a nerd.
But maybe you did it. They had to reshoot part of it because of they had a vaccine plot line with a virus, and they had
Yeah,
to reshoot
they're like,
some of
"Ooh,
it.
this
And they're like,
is-"
okay, then
I wish that they did a little bit better job at that because it felt a little clunky and it ruined it. But all the
Yeah.
black moments.
No notes. Flawless. No
Perfect.
notes. No
Perfect.
notes. Malcolm Spellman, who will be writing Captain America 4. I am there for that. Last thing I just want to say.
Yeah.
Bucky got an invite to the cookout. Don't he got an invite to the cookout?
He can come to my cookout.
The way he was looking at his sister, it was okay, Bucky. I feel bad because there's only so many invites to the cookout you can get. Sorry, Captain America. I think he was the downest white guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, I mean, he went to Wakanda.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, Bucky, because he spent all that time in Wakanda.
It's a little teetering, and I'm glad they didn't have him do it. Like try to speak to like Sam's sister in like Wakandan or something.
She would have been like, I don't know what you're saying.
And it's like, okay, you got a degree in like African history. Like take a.
Yes, agreed.
But like he seemed way, especially for a guy who was probably alive during racist town.
Oh, 100%.
So I was like, okay, all right. Going on a date with an Asian lady, looking at,
Also appreciate just like, I
Sam's
think
sister.
in the time of, the first episode started when there was the rise and just violence towards the AAPI community. And there was just such great visual representation. I felt like it's so needed and necessary because it's insane, but it's humanizing, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited Shang-Chi's going to come out.
Ooh, that
They're
looks
about to have like, their own Black
good.
Panther moment. Like, I am so here for it.
I mean, go watch that trailer if you haven't watched that
What are
trailer.
you doing with your life? You haven't seen that trailer.
It looks good.
Okay, is it time to get into the corners?
Whew, let's do it.
Okay. First up, we have, I bet you don't know this. Do you know about the legend of Pauli Murray?
Who?
Okay, well, we got to get into it. Coming up next, the legend of Pauli Murray. So we are going to pay honor and tribute to the Royal Highness of Intersectionality.
Pauli.
Majesty. Oh, you got a song for Pauli?
Pauli with an eye. Pauli with an eye. This is a song for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is an original hit. Original hit right there. Yeah, so we have Pauli Murray, Pauli with an I. I found this story, and I think a lot of people, it's like literally, I think, not the mascot, but the spirit of Minority Corner exists in Pauli Murray. So
I don't know anything about this. I'm really excited.
Hold on to your butts. So just to give you a little, like, to wet your whistle of, like, who are we talking about?
Who are we talking about?
Their friendships included Langston Hughes, James Baldwin, a 23-year friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay.
And help Betty Friedan found the National Organization for Women.
Just Forrest Gumping it up.
Oh my God, you were so right. Okay.
Yes.
All right, get on this movie. Okay. I already think about who I think should play it, but I don't think you'll like it.
But you know what? We always...
I'm sorry, but just the first person that came to mind.
But
Continue.
I don't.
I know it's okay.
I don't want the listeners to be mad at me about my Janelle Monáe. I love her music. I go to all her concerts.
You want her to sing.
She's not a good actress.
It's like me with Mary J. Blige. I want her to sing, and I don't think she's a great actress.
I think she's an okay actress.
You see, we will agree, disagree.
All right.
But Pauli Murray was also a poet, a writer, activist, labor organizer, legal theorist, and a Episcopal priest.
Okay.
So a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ahead of the times and epitomized intersectionality before there was even a word for it, which was coined by, do you know who coined that term?
Yes, but you say it.
Take it away, James.
This is your corner.
Kimberly Williams Crenshaw.
Yep.
Yes. And because for Pauli Murray, they were like, I can't separate my identities, like my race,
because
my
you
sexuality,
can't.
my gender. Yes. But this is like the 1930s and 40s. Like, ain't nobody having these conversations, right?
Yeah, because you're worried about being...
everything else.
Yes.
Like, just try to stay alive, right?
Get your coins and live your life.
And actually, that was the last quote that I think Pauli Murray said.
Get your coins and live your life?
Yeah, that was the title of
That's
her book.
That's their book.
No!
Their book is Get Your Coins.
Oh, God. No,
Live
and they
your
were
life.
like, okay, we'll get to it later.
Sorry.
Oh, God. All right. So, Pauli Murray, like, they also did all kinds of stuff. They also helped in the overturning of Plessy v. Ferguson.
Damn.
Okay, so when they were in Howard, we'll get to this in a moment, but when they were in Howard, they were like, oh, yeah, the 13th and 14th Amendment, they, violate the Constitution. Like Plessy v. Ferguson is in violation of the 13th and 14th Amendment. Everybody laughed at them, and they were like, Pauli Murray was like, I'll bet you $10 in 25 years it'll be overturned.
That was a lot of money back then.
5 years later, it was already overturned.
Damn.
And their professor was Spotswood Robinson.
What kind of old-timey name is that?
Good old Spotswood
Robertson.
Robertson. Well, he was black, so he got that black old timey name.
That is the blackest old timey name.
He was the professor that bet on that, right?
Okay.
He also worked on the Brown v. Board of Education case and dug out their paper. He was like, "Oh wait,
he used Pauli's work.
He used Pauli's work to help prove the case."
Wow.
Yes. Also co-wrote with Ruth Bader Ginsburg the equal with the Reed v. just name dropping.
Oops.
Reed v. and
Forrest Gumping along.
Reed v. Reed, the equal protection clause that it applies to women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pauli Murray helped out
this
with that.
movie would actually be kind of ridiculous. It would be just like a trotting out of of impressions.
It'd be the cast of SNL here.
Yeah, I know.
Oh gosh. And just it was also the first African American to earn a doctorate of jurisprudence at Yale.
What the hell is that?
Fancy. And has a college at Yale named after them.
Really?
And coined the term Jane Crow. Which we're going to get into that in a moment.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh
Okay.
my God.
There's a little tidbit. So was born Anna Pauline Murray on November 20th, 1910. Was an orphaned at an early age. Like, it was sad.
Right from the jump. This is like cut to.
Because the movie starts off like a montage of all the
Who
things
are
that
all
they've
these
done.
parents getting rid of brilliant children?
Well,
like,
no,
what
but the
is
parents
happening?
died. The parents
Ooh,
died. It was bad.
sorry,
The mom
yikes.
died, and then dad was like, he could not handle it.
Oh, that's
Ended
sad.
up died in a mental institution, being beaten to death by a white man.
Wow. Now I feel terrible.
That's why I had to reel you in. I was like, oh no.
But I mean, like all these. I just watched like Queen's Gambit, which is a
Okay.
terrible TV show, by the way.
all right.
Fight me.
Oh no, I'm not, because
Okay.
I saw it and I kept clicking. Along. You know, one thing that I don't like, I
What's
have to
that?
mute. I'm like an old man. When I'm watching the Netflix, I have to
The Netflix?
leave me alone.
Okay.
When I'm watching the Netflixes, I have to mute it when I'm trying to see what I want to watch. All that noise, I can't figure it out. When
What do
they're
you
like
mean?
showing me the trailers for
Oh,
things.
I always mute it. That's not an
That's
old time thing because I get
annoying.
distracted. I don't want to
I
hear
need
somebody
to
being like
read.
sizzle sizzle while I'm like trying to look and see what TV show I want to see.
Like I don't even know. Okay. Their grandparents were
God, tragedy.
their grandparents raised them. Their
Okay.
grandparents, the grandfather attended meetings with like Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass.
I'm done.
And their grandmother was.
You made this up. Is this a fever dream?
This is a real person. Their grandmother,
me my scrunchie.
was a slave and part Cherokee.
Okay.
Taught themselves to read by the age of 5. At 15, graduated, was editor-in-chief at the school newspaper, president of the Literary Society, played basketball, debate club, top student. And you know what they also hated at that time? Segregation. Like,
Well, duh.
no, but some people went along with it. And Pauli
Oh.
was like, I'm not riding buses. Pauli walked everywhere.
Wow.
Pauli wouldn't go to the movie theater because they were like, I'm not sitting in that balcony. So never went to the movies.
This is hero status right now.
Yes. So graduated in 1933. So did a lot of great things. Ended up going to university. And oh my gosh.
This is amazing.
My card just got out of order. Are we live? What's happening here? Oh gosh.
While you're finding it, in the chat, they would like to know about your thoughts on Black Lady Sketch Show.
Oh, I have thoughts.
Oh yeah.
I think that the show is excellent. Friend of the show, Ashley Nicole Black, is on it. James and Ashley Nicole Black go back. We had a vague friendship. Very nice.
I love it.
Issa Rae.
Yeah,
Producing
Ashley
it.
Nicole Black's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
Big fan.
So, you
I
know.
also am a fan of Nnekay was in a sketch show as well called Nice Tan.
Nice tan.
Yum.
It might be coming out on the 22nd, so keep an eye out.
And I found my card.
Yay!
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Thanks for the question, and thank you. Thanks, Snacks. Okay, we got
Okay.
you. Snacks. I was gonna thank Snacks later on in the show, but I'll thank you now. Thank you, Snacks. Okay, you next. All right. Okay.
Who's coming from my spot? All right.
Snacks will be here. We'll interview
I
Snacks.
gave- you know what?
No, okay.
I relinquished
Wait,
it.
Hold on. So, all right. Black school. So, okay, Pauli Murray, right?
Yes.
So get this. You're gonna flip out about this.
Okay, I'm ready. I can't.
So black schools back then in North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't get past 11th. 11th grade was as high as it went. Did you know that?
but that's-
so you
that's,
can't
like,
even
right
go to college.
there.
So they couldn't go to college.
That's
And so she couldn't get the classes. They couldn't get the classes they wanted,
That's
right?
cold-blooded.
So, which is just setting up for failure. Again, this is systemic racism, right?
yes, this is what's baked into society.
And so they were like, okay, let me go stay with my cousin in Queens. And the grandparents were like, oh, okay. Went to a high school, the only black person, 4,000 people there.
4,000.
Went to Hunter College because Columbia did not accept women. And Barnard was too expensive. And they were like, fine, okay, I'll go to Hunter College.
Okay.
And they then eventually got a room at the YWCA. Not the biggest bop by the townspeople. They
But
had a
you know
little
what?
spin-off. What?
My first daycare was at the YWCA of Oakland.
you-
Shout
Thought you were
out.
gonna say your first date was there. They became buddies with Langston Hughes,
wish.
W.B.E. Du Bois.
Okay, here we
Went
go
to
again.
Civil rights lectures with Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay, is
Oh,
this
oh,
like
wait,
actually?
Wait, get this. So hold on. Would pay 25 cents to see Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway at the Apollo because they were living in Harlem, living their best life.
I'm
at
really,
18.
I'm really starting to think that if you were black during that time, there was like 5 black people, and they all just because everybody's just
Everyone's
like
all just
connected.
hanging out.
I know.
I think it was like an easy circle to get into though. Like if you knew,
Yeah.
like, if
They'd
you
be
were
like,
there,
"Come on."
oh, come on, there, no egos. But then October 29th, 1929 happened.
Okay, what happened then?
And that was like, here comes the Great Depression.
Ooh,
So everything just started
yes.
drying up, and it was just a bad time to be alive.
For
and,
everybody.
nationwide, the unemployment rate was 25%, but in Harlem, and people don't talk about this, they're like, that was the Great Depression was that much worse for black people.
Oh, 100.
Like Cicely Tyson was talking about it in her book. Like I think it was like 60%. This quote said 50%. For black people, the unemployment rate was like 50%, which is insane.
But I mean, if you can imagine it, if they aren't hiring white people, hell no, they're hiring black people.
You're the first one to go. Last one to get there, first one to go. And so Pauli Murray started doing like little jobs with like different labor movements and started
Yes.
getting that labor,
Hustle.
on,
Hustle.
right? And
Hustle
then
it up.
was like, okay, I need to do something with my life, right?
Yeah.
And
Get those coins.
Applied to grad school at the University of North Carolina,
Ooh.
which did not accept black folks. But
How did they do
Pauli
it?
Murray was like, well, their slave-owning relatives had attended the school, and another had served on its board of trustees, and another one had created a permanent scholarship. So they're like, see, that's what
I
happened.
love
Isn't Pauli
this.
Murray dope? It was like, okay, you got to rate my ancestors.
Pauli.
So I'm going to go to this school. I got that. All right. And they were like,
How do we not know about this?
but they were like, nope, I don't think so. And the
Oh.
press got a hold of this, right?
Oh, good.
But 2
I
days
wonder how. A leaky.
And 2 days earlier, the Supreme Court had just ruled that graduate programs at public universities had to admit qualified African Americans.
Yes.
If they didn't. And so then the University of North Carolina was like, okay, fine. But they were like determined to not let segregation happen.
Oh my God.
So they did a tale as old as time that like when you tell white people, oh, you can't be racist, they burn it all down. So what they did is they slashed the budget. They were like, oh, we're going to give a black grad school program, right? They slashed that budget and then adjourned for 2 years.
Oh my God.
It's like when they were like, oh, these pools can't be segregated. And they're like, oh, okay, drain the pool.
I hate this.
Yeah. So Pauli Murray did go to 2 other notable institutions.
Where? Okay.
How did
Here we go.
Jail and law school.
Oh, okay. One is a surprise.
So remember when I was like, they don't ride buses, right?
Yeah.
So 1940, they're like, I hate buses, but I got to go home from New York to go see my fam.
Too hard to walk it.
And here's the quote why Pauli Murray didn't like it. They said, buses permitted the public humiliation of black people to be carried out in the presence of privileged white spectators who witnessed our shame in silence or indifference.
I love that.
Okay,
Put that on a pillow. Oh!
And so they were like, okay, fuck it, I'll ride this bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course they changed in Richmond, Virginia, and they were like, okay, and her and her friend were like discussing Gandhi and nonviolent resistance, right?
Of course, because
on
they
the
just
bus,
be
just
like beatniking it up, just like, in my beret, here we go, let's talk.
So the police, so again, this is before like Claudette Cloven, this is before Rosa Parks, this is before like they were already doing it, and the NAA, they had gotten arrested, and then the NAACP was like, oh, we'll take up this case. They didn't take up that case when they weren't allowed into college, but they're like, we'll take up this one. And then Virginia was like, I don't want any of this, so they just slapped them on a wrist with a little fine and sent them on their merry way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this story is wild.
So let's talk about their friendship with Eleanor Roosevelt.
You know I love Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt,
Down-ass woman.
the quote that I gave.
She's a dow.
But I mean, it's the quote that I gave for my high school senior quote.
Oh, it was from Eleanor Roosevelt?
Yeah, notable. From me.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you for that. You be in the trenches with Eleanor. You love some Eleanor.
Alameda High School, 2001. Look it
Okay,
up.
All right, looking at your book.
Look it up.
Okay, so how it all came to be. So Odell Waller had been sentenced
Who
to
is
death.
that? I'm sorry.
This is a different time, Nnekay. Let them be. Let Odell Waller be. He died very tragically in
Okay,
prison.
sorry.
You better
This
leave
is
him
terrible.
You're like,
This is terrible, but it's just.
so Odell had been sentenced to death for shooting a white man whose land he was farming on, and it was in self-defense. But the all-white jury was like, nope, he black. Put him in jail. We don't like him.
Terrible.
So Eleanor Roosevelt, she loved a black cause because she was,
She loved a cause.
It's very true. She's
She
like,
loved
who
a
needs my help?
cause.
Let me
I
write some
am
letters.
there.
And so she'd taken an interest in the cause, and then, but even 2 years before that, the reason why Pauli Murray and Eleanor Roosevelt became friends was because Pauli wrote a very stern letter to FDR.
This is so good.
Wrote a very stern letter to FDR about how FDR cared more about fascism abroad than white supremacy at home.
Whoa.
And I love that Eleanor was like, okay, girl, come on over for tea.
Okay, so here's the thing. Who of us now, you hear these stories, right? You hear these stories, but then you think about yourself and you go, okay, would I sit down, pen a letter to the president, have the president take me seriously, and then I get invited to come have tea during a high-key racist time? These are huge feats.
And then why are and like I'm
And
blown,
this is-
you've never heard about Pauli Murray.
I've never heard about Pauli Murray.
Yep. So there was that. And then they gave a speech at the Workers Defense League, and Thurgood Marshall and law professor Leon Ransom, they were like, okay, you need to come to Howard. And they were like, okay, I'll go to Howard on the one intention of destroying Jim Crow.
Oh my
That
God.
was like what they said.
This is not a movie. This is a TV series.
Oh yeah, you can't just do
This
this
is
in
a
one
TV
movie.
series.
No, you gotta do like this
There's
is a lot.
too many things.
And this is like at least like move over the Crown. This is at least 5 seasons.
This is
easy.
way more interesting than The Crown.
100%.
Diana
Oh,
being like,
we have teen.
I'm
Oh
a
my
little
God.
woodland
Oh, but
nymph.
yeah.
Get out of here.
We've colonized these
I mean, I
people.
watched it though.
Just get me to the point when Meghan Markle shows up. I'm not interested until then.
It's
And I
it's
want
not.
her to
It's
play
better than
herself.
Queen's Gambit.
You did not like that
Queen's
show.
Gambit is bad.
Can I tell you about Jane Crow and what that is?
I can guess.
Yeah. So Pauli Murray, and in fact, you're probably mad that you just now learned about this turn because you could be running around the streets and be like, Jane Crow.
I mean, I'm going to use it in my segment.
So when they went to Howard, the power professor was like, I don't know why a woman would want to go to law school. And that Pauli Murray was like, okay, I'm going to be the top student. Did that. And then they were like, great, I need more education. I'm going to go to Harvard.
Yes. What?
Went to Harvard, applied for Harvard, but got the Jane Crow version of the rejection letter they had received from the University of North Carolina. They were like, you are not of the sex entitled to be here at Harvard Law School.
Oh, so it's woman segregation.
Yes.
I thought it was black women segregation.
No, but
no
specifically
intersection.
women's segregation.
Okay,
But
okay,
you can
okay.
even, Jane Crow noir, if you will. I don't know.
Don't put a spin on this.
I don't know. I'm
Don't
trying to
make
get
it
you
sound
there.
sexy.
Oh,
Don't make
Jane Crow noir.
Okay.
Is that better? Yeah. Oh, get this.
Yeah.
So Pauli Murray wrote back, because Pauli loved a letter,
Loved a letter.
and wrote in amazing words, "Gentlemen, I would gladly change my sex to meet your requirements, but since the way to such change has not been revealed to me, I have no recourse but to appeal to you to change your minds on the subject. Are you to tell me that one is as difficult as the other?" They were like, all right, I'll change. I don't know how I would do that, but I don't know how to do that, right? I don't know how to change my sex because I gladly would do that.
Wow.
Yep. Even FDR wrote them a letter. They wouldn't change anything. So they were like, fine, I'll go to
Wait.
Berkeley.
Wait.
Yes.
The president of the United States
They wouldn't
wrote
budge.
this college, said, let my friend in.
Nope.
And they were like, no, sir.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. that was it.
Beloved FDR.
A beloved.
Problematic, but beloved FDR.
Fascism thing. Okay. So women's civil rights, right? They also served on
Berkeley.
Kennedy's.
You see Berkeley?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, they couldn't get to Harvard, so they went to Berkeley.
Berkeley's great.
I know. No problems there. They served on Kennedy's newly created Presidential Commission on the Status of Women.
JFK.
Yes.
So now time has passed.
Oh, yeah, we're moving it along.
Okay, I was
Sorry,
like,
we're
what?
jumping. Cards out of order. Now we're at this, okay?
Okay. Now they're an old person.
Now they're they're a little bit older there, right?
Okay.
And they were furious that in 1963, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, that Philip Randolph gave a speech at the National Press Club, boys only.
Oh my God.
And women had to be in the balcony. And you know Pauli Murray did not like being up in the balcony.
They, at this point, like 20 years have passed.
Yeah.
They're probably so upset.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
And get this. If you think about this, you look at these pictures, like no women were allowed in the meeting with Kennedy. No Fannie Lou Hamer, Diane Nash, Rosa Parks, Ella Baker.
Right.
And there are all these women who have been doing the movement and the struggle sidelined.
Yeah, because
so,
the 60s, they're still like everybody likes to think like, oh, you know, hippies. But no, it was like,
hippies were, like, later.
you're wearing like a bra and you're cooking and, you know, you're
Take those shoes
breastfeeding
off,
a
get in
baby.
that kitchen.
Which is nothing's wrong with that.
No,
but
be comfortable.
you should be able to do whatever you want to do.
100%. So in 1965, they were like, okay, we need to organize a women's march on Washington.
Okay.
And they called up Betty Friedan.
Oh, here we go. A mystique.
They called up Betty Friedan and was like, okay, Betty, it's time for women to organize their own NAACP. And in 1966...
See, this is a problem because it's like this or that. Why can't we have both?
Well, we'll get, yeah.
Okay.
And then, so in 1966, they formed with Betty Friedan the National Organization for Women.
Okay.
Pauli Murray helped to form NOW.
How do we not know about Pauli Murray?
Eventually, they fell out of love with NOW because
I
it
can
just
see why.
became it sidelined
Hashtag
women.
white feminism?
Yes, it sidelined women of color and poor people.
Yep.
And just became an organization for professional white women.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's why I have a problem with now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I understand that. Okay. So the Methodist Church had opposed segregation, right?
Okay.
And they needed help. They needed her help, and they hired her to write. They were like, "Oh, we just need you to write a pamphlet, right?"
Okay.
Because they don't want to do segregation. The Methodist Church, right?
Right.
And they were like, "Oh, just write something up." And Pauli Murray's like, great. Here's a 746-page book
Pamphlet?
called States Laws on Race and Color, and it and I love a pamphlet. They're like, just write something up real quick.
Sure, okay.
Yeah,
Here's a tome.
746-page book.
It's like
and it's
gunk.
called States Laws on Race and Color, and exposed the extent and insanity of segregation. ACLU distributed copies to law libraries, black
Yes.
colleges, human rights
Good.
orgs. Thurgood Marshall
Hell
kept
yeah.
stacks of it around at the NAACP and called it the Bible of Brown v. Board of Education.
Yes.
Yep, 100%. Last little bit here. I know, take you on this whirlwind.
Oh my
They
God.
became, this is the last little tidbit, they became a priest in the Episcopal Church.
You know,
Also, sidebar, they did work at the same law firm as Ruth Bader Ginsburg for a moment in 1956. This like fancy law firm.
in that in-between time.
That's what they were doing. In between time, they were like, "Oh, there was a law firm," and then they're like, "I don't like this," and they're like, one of like there was 3 women who were there.
Of
2 of those women
all the-
left,
of
and then
all
Ruth
the
Bader
law
Ginsburg came in. It's a series. Who's gonna play her? All right, became a priest, and of course, at that time, they did not ordain women, and so they were like, "Okay, let me, get up into this." And so they ended up, getting in, and they broke through those barriers. I do want to touch on this other thing. This is the thing that, like, with Murray's life, there's sexuality, right? They had a very brief marriage with a dude, and they were like, "This is not for me." And they were like, "I'm not
No, thank
attracted to men. I don't, and this is before the times like the 40s, the 30s.
I mean,
right?
clearly Pauli Murray was before their time.
Yes, absolutely. And they struggled with their gender identity and their attraction to women. And they actually, Pauli Murray had identified as a man, and they had really connected with this work by Havelock Ellis's work on pseudo-hermaphrodites, and they said to themselves, they saw themselves as members of the opposite gender from the one that they were assigned to them at birth. And I just think, like,
Man.
how challenging in that time period. There's no language or community to
know.
even connect with this.
But can you think about, I wish that Pauli Murray could see now.
Yeah.
Without Pauli Murray's in the world, we wouldn't be where we're at right now.
Yeah.
God,
And
we
that- and
we
you
need
see-
to hear
look
these
at this
stories. I'm so
badass
happy that you brought this
transgender
up.
hero, right?
Mhm.
And that like is left throughout, like just out. And
This is genius level. All the different things that you've brought up, like we talk about, like Martin Scorsese is a genius. It's like
this
no,
is real genius.
This
Like,
is an
writing letters,
actual
doing stuff,
genius.
and navigating through a world that like does not. There's no place for
Right.
Pauli Murray at this time period. They even
Carved their own.
Even tried taking male hormones for 2 decades. They're like the aunt had called them like little boy girl. They even went by the name Paul Pete Dude at one point and settled on Pauli. And
Yeah.
never was called. Their name was Anna when they were first born.
I mean, Polly. I'm no
they
offense to
sw-
Anna's,
But they switched over because they were like, okay, I can still kind of, and they.
oh yeah,
And they didn't refer themselves as a lesbian. They just were like, this is who I'm attracted to women, and also saw themselves. They are a man, so
Yeah.
that word wouldn't even
Apply.
Apply, yeah. And they said they saw themselves as one of nature's experiment, a girl who should have been a boy, ahead of the time.
dude.
Yeah.
Pauli Murray is a hero that needs to be celebrated. I'm so glad you brought this up. Like I thought that you were gonna tell me like a story, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a
took
great
you on
story.
a ride.
This-
Strap
No,
in.
this is like one of those levels of. I feel like this is like breaking the system. Like
Yeah.
people need to know that this person existed.
Mm-hmm.
That Polly was hands in all the pots
Everything.
of creating everything.
We stand on their
Cross time.
shoulders.
And it also bridges things together. Like you think about the crash, right? You think about Harlem.
yeah.
And you think it's such a far away time from the 60s. But if you have a person like Pauli Murray who's straddling all those movements, involved in all these things, you realize how close history is. How it's just one generation. Like that's like it's amazing.
I know.
Like what? Who? Even the one little thing. If you were like, "Hey, Nnekay, can you write me a pamphlet?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
That one thing looked like
I'm
okay, let me do this
tired.
work. Bam!
I know.
Here's a book. And Thurgood Marshall was like, oh, let me see this. Oh, now I know how to like fight Brown v. Board of Education. Like I know how to do that. Like hands in the cookie jars of everything. We literally are in this studio space. Thank you to Pauli Murray. So I felt like the best person to celebrate on our 300th episode
Yes.
because Pauli Murray is Minority Corner.
Yes, the grandparent of Minority
Yes,
Corner.
very true.
Damn
yes.
it.
Woo! All right. Well, so we get
good.
into your corner.
All right, I guess.
Oh, what?
Man,
You-
wow. I should have went first. Let me get these cards.
Nnekay's Corner, racism in the crafting world. What you gonna do about it? Get out of here, racism. I gotta craft. I don't craft.
Wow, that
I want to give you a song.
it was a good song. Thank you.
Whoa!
Thank you.
You've never lied to me before in your life.
that was-
and
that was-
you are very usually honest with your notes, and that was not.
That no, it's
just
because
crafting.
no, I appreciate it. That's why I'm not
You know, I
trying to
don't know
get
what
into
crafting
it.
really is
You do know
either.
it. Okay, side note, you do know what crafting is because when we were back in college, we had to make signs for the doors, and you
Oh,
and I
I
had
would-
to craft,
oh, I would
and
craft
accidentally
away.
got high on glue.
Yeah, and I would go all out for those projects and things too.
You would. That's why we got high on glue.
Okay, stop telling. I might want to get a job after this.
High on glue.
Stop it. It was marijuana. It's legal.
It was glue.
Stop it.
Okay.
I wasn't just huffing bags of glue. What's going on in the crafting world? Is there racism?
There's racism everywhere, James.
I mean, surprise.
I know. And so the problem with that is when you don't accept that racism is everywhere, you get a bunch of deniers that kind of ruin things.
Racism deniers.
I mean,
like
come on.
climate change.
Always. Just like it seeps in. And it's like, let's just say bigotry deniers. Because like recently the brony community, there's like a
Oh,
community.
with the My Little Ponies.
Yeah. So racism has seeped into there.
Oh my
and then they like
God.
got upset that like they're like, oh, we don't know what to do with it. And it's like, no, you should, if there's racism there, you should like get it out. I
I don't know why I'm surprised. There is no safe space from racism because it is a virus, and unless you deal with it,
Right.
We have not gotten the vaccination for racism.
We have not.
We're
So,
working on it.
so it's good to root these things out, right?
Right.
Okay, so I wanted to bring it up because I've been heavily involved in the craft world right now.
You have been.
I've been like a crafting person. Pandemic, I've always been a crafting person. Like I was a crocheter.
And let us not forget at your wedding,
Oh yeah.
Nnekay made like how many flowers? Like these are just, and when Nnekay was like, "Oh, I'm making hand flowers or like paper flowers,"
Or as my
by
dad liked to
hand.
say, I thought this was gonna look shitty, but it turned out all right.
I wouldn't have used those words, but that's what I imagined in my head. I would have never said those words out loud. I thought like, "Oh, cute," Nnekay's making like paper flowers, gorgeous.
Thank
to
you.
the point where I tried to become Dina Lohan for a moment. I was
know,
like,
you always-
"Okay, we got to get this business going.
I
I got
know.
to get you on QVC." Like every time
They just don't.
you
They
just
didn't
became
last well.
You became a giant dollar sign to me.
Well, I know. I'm like your what Gypsy Rose over here.
You are. Mama's got to make some money. And then I'm like, it's my turn to
I know
craft.
exactly.
That's me crafting. It's
true.
terrible. Okay, sorry. See, it's different. I don't have any cards. I'm like,
I know you're just too free. You too free. You keep grabbing mine. This is mine. I know. Can't handle this. Okay, so normally, so I was a crocheter, fiber arts. I've moved into embroidery. I've really embraced embroidery. And I've been noticing a lot of things online. Like you go on Instagram pages, you go on the blogs, you start researching. There's all these communities where it's like hashtag makers gotta make, hashtag crafters gotta craft. All these sort of things so you can connect in. And I was like, you know what? There's not a lot of like crafters of color. But that's crazy because I know that people of color craft, you know? So I really I wanted to do a corner on that. And I found, of course, you open up the rock, you're gonna look at the worms, right?
I'm sure there's like, snakes in there too.
Oh, there's everything. There's creepy crawlies. It's all over the place. Okay, so basically, when you're thinking about crafting, knitting specifically, we're going to be talking about the knitting world, but just know that it kind of translates into everything, okay? So there's been a little bit of controversy happening in the knitting world. So I pulled a lot of stories from Vox, from craftcouncil.org, The Guardian, The New Yorker,
Look at our librarian was like, look at all of my sources.
I got to get my sources.
I read an article from The New Yorker.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. I did that to guilt you. No.
Keep me right. I was
Okay.
just making this up.
But I'll give you the links. You can look up the links for more stories and some more resources
Yeah.
when you listen to the podcast after you've watched this.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically when you think about crafting, a lot of people think about like an old white lady, right? With her cats and like a bag of yarn.
I now think of you though.
Good. Okay.
Or that show Making It. Where you
Yes!
interviewed, I think, did she
I did.
win?
No, she was like second
Third
runner
place
up.
or something,
Yeah, I
yeah.
forget her name, but she was amazing.
She
Black
was on
lady.
the show. She's black.
But here's the thing with Making It. Making It is a show that's trying to make like crafting and the crafter more popular and exciting. They only usually have like a token of each color on there, of each person of color on there.
Sandbox.
Yeah, and that is not the way it should be, you know? So I really want us to break that mold. If anything you get from this corner is to challenge your ideas of who is allowed to craft and who is a handy person, because I'll go into the differences a little bit later. Okay, so a lot of things that kind of really start this division are access, right? So you have people like you think of like, oh, you can buy a sweater. Well, somebody had to make that sweater. And then you think, oh, sweatshop. And then you think a person of color, right? And it's cheap. But then if you think of a handcrafted sweater that costs like $100 because the yarn costs $30 a skein, then you think, oh, like a wispy white lady in like some gauze in Oregon made this, you know?
Why is she in
So,
gauze? Is
you
she
know.
get bandaged?
You know,
Like
she's
gauze?
it's like a gauzy,
Oh, I thought she was like a mummy
just
gauze.
like tiny titties and like
Why her
okay.
titties gotta be tiny?
because that's the way it is.
Because it makes it easier
I'm
for the
stereotyping now.
Well, because it makes it easy for crafting.
So you don't wear a bra when you're wearing gauzy. Can you imagine a utility bra and some gauze? Not cute.
No, don't want to. No.
But it works.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I'm
Okay.
gonna do that. Okay. So
We want pictures on Instagram.
no, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so those are some of the things that are like signifying the divisions of race in craft and who's allowed to be a crafts person and who's allowed to be like a worker, you know? Okay, so now I got a tale.
I like how you're like, Barney, are we playing spades here? What's going on?
Yeah, we are.
Done with that card.
Blackety
Here
black.
comes-
Dominoes. That's how we do it. I don't know how to play dominoes.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We'll learn you. That's the next time we're gonna play just dominoes.
I know. I went to a family cookout and they started playing dominoes and they're
And
like,
you were like-
Nnekay, do you want this? And I was like, okay.
You like Homer Simpson?
I just,
bush
like,
in a
was-
bush.
I was like, all right. So I got a tale of a Karen.
Okay.
A true Karen. Her name is actually Karen.
That happens sometimes.
It does happen.
It's like on the Real World New York reunion. Becky was a Becky, and her
See?
name is Becky, and she was Beckying it up.
You know, it's unfortunate.
Sometimes people live up to
I'll
their
be
name.
really sad if they're like, Nnekay.
That
And then it's
means,
like,
fun, great.
you never know. There could be a
things.
stanky ass Nnekay out there that's going to
Ooh.
ruin it for me.
Let me know where she lives. I'll take care of her.
Highlander. There can only
I don't want
be
her ruining.
one.
Yes, there can only be one Nnekay. I don't want her ruining her
And
name.
by take care of her, we'll kindly tell her to change her name.
We will even bring the paperwork and process it for her.
We'll go down to Social Security.
I'll take her to Shake Shack.
You're nice.
That's as far as you go.
Okay.
Crafting.
Okay. So this woman, Karen Templer, right? She's a huge crafter. She's a knitter. She's like all these followers on freaking Instagram, and people just are loving her up. They're like, ooh, Karen, we love your little soft knits that you do and your pictures of it, right? And so she's like, yeah, I'm a big Instagram influencer. My name is Karen. And she goes, I'm going on a trip in 2019. And she goes, I'm so excited to go to this trip to India, right? And this is what she wrote. She wrote that as a child, India had fascinated her, and that when an Indian friend's parents offered to take her with him on a trip, it was like being offered a seat on a flight to Mars.
No. Ugh. See, you got Lorraine. Lorraine's like, ugh. Yeah.
Not good.
Ugh.
On top of that,
No,
she
there's
goes,
more.
if I can go to India, I can do anything.
No, white lady, no. Someone say this white lady from herself.
And everybody did. So everybody came
Oh.
onto the internet and they were like, Karen, you can't say that. That's rude. That's
This was
like
2019.
2019. This is
Yeah.
recent. This is recent
Yo,
history.
you all
Yes.
thought they thought
No,
this
no,
was
no,
like
no.
2005.
No. This is
is
not
2 years ago.
1975. This is. I was still wearing this outfit back then. My hair was the same length.
Yeah, I was wearing these jeans.
See? Okay, so a lot of people wrote her back and they were like, Karen, one person wrote, Karen, I'd ask you to reread what you wrote and think about how your words feed into a colonial imperialist mindset towards India and other non-Western cultures. Yes.
Did Pauli Murray write that?
Through this person
Yes.
named Alex who refused to. A lot of people in the story are like, don't put my last name in there.
Okay.
Because they're scared of the crafting community, like it's a mafia or something. But apparently,
Ooh, okay, all right.
shit's tough.
All right.
I guess I gotta keep an eye out
Keep an
after
eye
I'm going
out,
public with
Because
this.
you putting Karen's name out there.
Also, Karen was like, "This is my year of color" when
I'm
she was
done.
talking about going to India.
Everything they're saying is just terrible.
Okay, so it was a mess.
Yes.
Yeah, controversy. People were really upset. Okay, so after all of this sort of stuff, people like crafters of color really started coming out and being like, here, we are here. And they started sharing their stories online about how they were ignored in knitting stores, how white knitters assumed that they were poor and complete amateurs, or a couple of crafters said that they flat out heard people say, oh, I didn't think that black people or Asian people crafted.
My brain just exploded for a moment because I just think about all the lineage of black folks that I know they created their own clothes. They had to, for one, because of money and access, and just like it's literally in our veins. Who do you think made all those white people's clothes too?
It's the difference. It's just like, remember how we had the whole discussion about farmers and black farmers?
Yes.
It's like it's people associate those who had to do it. It's almost like you can be a crafter if you don't need to do it.
Right, yeah. I do this for fun. I don't need this
Right.
because I need a sweater.
Exactly.
And I will, freeze
It's
without
like,
it.
I'm going to go to Brentwood and pick strawberries because it's whimsical and fun.
As
But
opposed
I'm
to-
not saying that, like, the day workers are actual picking, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's that weird dichotomy.
It's not like, but like, you know, white people get to be more whimsical and footloose and fancy free with it.
Right, exactly.
We don't get to have that idea of like whimsy or a hobby.
Right. If you do it as a profession, you still are doing it. You're still a craft person in it.
You making
Seem
that
like
coin
getting-
from that crafting too.
Yes.
See you, boss ass.
Even better. Better at it. Okay, so after that came out, a lot of people started being like, what are you talking about? There's no racism in crafting. There's
done.
nothing at all. It's like, it's upsetting to me, right? Like one person Maria Tuscan on her YouTube video was like, I'm a part of the silent majority who doesn't think that racism is a problem in the knitting community. And then she also added that it's a one-sided belief that's leading them to bully people who think racism was a problem. So now you get these two communities cropping up that are like saying yes and no and pick a side to all these different like crafting companies, right?
Wow.
Okay, so Ravelry. So if you are a crafter, specifically a crocheter or a knitter, you know Ravelry. Ravelry is like this big, giant website that has all these different patterns that you can get either for free or you can pay money. It's huge, right? And so all of a sudden, all these racist patterns started popping.
No, I don't even. How? How do you do a racist pattern?
You know, you put like white is right in a hat. I don't know.
Or I'm just imagining like blackface characters with like big lips and things
Not
like
that creative.
Oh,
See, you're being a little too creative. It was very much like make America great again in a hat, you know, like that sort of stuff, right?
Gross.
So people complain. They're like, what's happening? This
isn't.
This is not a good look, Ravelry. But at the same time, as a librarian, I'm also of the mindset of like not censoring.
Sure. Yeah.
So
don't want to censor crafts.
Right.
Don't censor these crafts.
A piece of me is almost like, I don't know. I'm of two minds, and I invite conversation about it because a piece of me doesn't want to see that on there, but another piece of me says, well,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Put it out there and like let it and like honestly listen. If you and you know what, I'm fine with it. Put it on a pillow. Let me know where your racism is. I want to walk into your house, see your pillow, and it says white is right, and I'm out.
U-turn.
I am out of there.
Goodbye.
Let me know.
Why did I get the invite here? Why am I here?
Why are we friends?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a setup.
It's like, Chauncey, what you doing?
Get out of here, Chauncey.
You took time to make that? You bought the yarn for that? All right, so
I might burn it.
Okay, so all these hashtags started popping up.
I was gonna ask you, one of my thoughts when you first started this, I was like, is there a hashtag? Ooh. It's almost like something's not a real movement anymore if it ain't got a hashtag.
Two hashtags, two competing hashtags.
No.
A war of hashtags, if you will.
Give it to me.
Okay, so after Ravelry was like, okay, we're gonna take these things down, right? They're like, we're gonna be the bigger people and say, get rid of all of this hateful stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of crafters of color and like queer crafters were like, yes. And they're like, hashtag we knit too, right?
Ooh, I like that. That's cute. I want to get that on
And then here comes people crawling it from the rocks.
Oh, let me guess. Make America craft again.
Make knitting fun again.
Oh, I was so close.
You were
that's
close.
Terrible.
It's
Wait,
terrible.
make knitting fun again?
Hashtag make knitting fun again.
I want to point something out because that in itself is privilege to be able to say, I want to have a space and we don't talk about, black issues or racism or women's issues. That is a privilege to be able to think that anybody can separate those. I never stop being black and gay. You never stop being a black woman and all the other intersectionalities that also stop intersect with that. Hence, Pauli Mary was talking about forever. It is a privilege to be able to think that there can just be a space because just because someone doesn't bring it up and talk about it does not mean they're not experiencing it, that those thoughts aren't also running through their head, and that you are not treating them differently because of those things.
Colorblind is a false, stupid misnomer.
And offensive to people who are legitimately colorblind.
Right. Dogs are mad.
Hashtag dogs are mad. Okay.
Okay, so do you want to know... Do you want to know an example of a tone-deaf crafter?
I would like to hear one, so I know what to look for.
Okay, so this is a little segment that I pulled from an article that was on, like, what is it? It's called, like, Quilterlet, which is, like, a big, like, crafty magazine. They actually gave this person space, and it's dripping with the privilege that you just outlined so beautifully.
I set you up.
Okay, so this is the end of what this person wrote. Knitting is the simple pleasure of turning a ball of yarn into something practical and beautiful, James. As Elizabeth Zimmerman, the British-born hand-knitting teacher and designer once said, properly placed, knitting soothes the troubled spirit, and it doesn't hurt the troubled soul either. Let's hope the world of knitting can return to a focus on design, color, and value of something that's unique and handmade, rather than the nationality or race of whoever made it.
Whoa! I literally want to flip this table. Like
Right?
a housewife, I want to flip this table.
It's dripping with all the things. And I want to point this out for the people in the back of the room
'Cause
who
they're-
do not hear the subtext clues.
They're like, what do you mean? That sounds like a fun jaunt.
Elizabeth, how dare you quote someone
Okay.
who is British born when you're trying to talk about not race or whatever? Why are you pointing out that they're British born?
Okay.
Right? Okay. Shoes the troubled spirit. Does it really when you go to Ravelry and you see something in a hat that says Make America Great Again?
Right.
Or, like I hate black people quilted on a throw?
And can they get more creative? Because like it's like your whiteness is hiding
I just
in
feel
such
like
plain
it
sight.
takes a very particular set of dedicated racism to be like, I'm going to spend some time to make this.
Let us know, for those of us who are not crafters on the rag, how long would a piece like that take? That's a lot of dedication.
It takes a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. To just
Especially
be
if
like,
you're not
oh, yeah, I'm
good.
gonna, and it's also just like a lot of like negative energy you're putting into that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me just.
Yes.
Just get
How
that.
are you soothing your troubled spirit by crocheting a hat that says hateful things?
Sounds exhausting.
Right?
And sounds like you need some therapy and a hug.
Okay, now also let's listen to her bio, which she made sure to for sure put on there. Okay, Catherine Jebsen Moore grew up in Norway, studied media and print journalism in London, and worked at Bloomberg News in 2009. Now, the reason that I want to bring this up is because
So
people
we know where to go and find her. Are you doxing her? I'm just kidding.
to calmly tell her to stop doing this politely.
Fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but here's the thing. I'm bringing this up because she clearly says that she worked for Bloomberg News, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want us all to realize that when you are reading news sources, here's the librarian coming out,
Okay.
people have their own biases that leak out into news. And even though you think it might be the most unbiased news present, if somebody has the viewpoint to say that they don't want to mix their craft with racism, with race talks, then you can for sure know that that's coming out in a bias in a news article that they're writing for the Bloomberg News.
Dang, I feel like I went down a rabbit hole where I thought I was good. This is like craftspiracy.
I
That's
need
what
one of
think
those
this
walls
is.
where it's like,
I thought we were just talking about crafting, and now we're
No.
seeing the connections to how biased media writing is, because you just showed a peek behind the curtains of who this woman really is, which is like, I don't see race, which means how is she able to report on things if she's not able to see the full picture of it?
exactly. All right. So
Drop that domino down. Bam.
now I wanted to give the last say to a crafter of color, okay? Andy, who refused to give his last name because
That's fair.
Craft
This
Mafia.
crafting, the craft mafia, because it is a craftspiracy. This
Ooh.
really is a craftspiracy. Netflix, she's available for her documentary. You could be like, I just wanted to figure out what was going on over here. And you're gonna get so many interviews. You're gonna get so many interviews where they're just gonna be thinking that you're talking about crafting, and then you're gonna ask them a question.
Bam!
You're gonna ask them a question. They're gonna be like, yeah. So, what did you think about? Was that a racist piece? And they're like, can you cut the camera off?
Yeah. And it's just a
Those
mic.
moments- Can you cut the camera off, please? No, seriously. Can you please cut the camera off?
I want that so bad, but like no joke, like one of my like future things that I want to do is have a crafting show. Like, you know how they have all these chef shows where like they go around and they like eat food from around the world? Why can't I go around and talk to people about what crafts that they do?
You know that I am your Dina Lohan, or for you kids out there, Kris Jenner. I don't like her, so I don't want to be here. I like Dina. I feel like Dina's heart was in the right place. What? I could party
This
with
is a hot take.
I watched Dina Lohan on Big Brother, and she was.
No, I'm shutting this.
No.
Cut the cameras.
Dina-
I'm shutting this down.
Let me be your. I am your Dina. All I see is like
Who's
you
actually rich right now though?
Are you? We're gonna get this project made. I can
Okay.
see it
I mean,
already.
yeah,
I want nothing but the
I
best
think
for
it's
my
a
baby.
great show. I think
it's a
I
great
could talk
idea.
to people about crafts all day long,
100%.
and I'll make it interesting.
And I'll be on the side.
I'll wear
being
a tube
like,
top to
"Where's
bring
her
some
check?
sex."
Give me the check. Now I'm going out to party.
Once again, Gypsy Rose.
Mama's got to party and live. And then
let me entertain you.
that's right.
Okay.
Do
Anyways,
mama.
this is getting creepy.
It
So,
is.
Andy.
And then if you're sick, I can take over. for your crafting show.
How am I gonna get sick?
I don't know. Things
Okay,
happen.
this is gonna Nancy Kerrigan moment. You
You
leave
and
my
the-
knees alone.
You and the other Nnekay are in some cabin together, locked away, and I changed my name to Nnekay.
Let me finish this. Let me stick this landing.
Okay, yeah, sorry. This is the big finish.
Okay, it's a little okay. So, Andy, who doesn't give his last name, is a Mexican and Venezuelan member of the knitting community. So basically, he said that the phrase "I want to go back to knitting" is very common, but a lot of us don't have the luxury of separating what some people call politics from their identity. Andy said, a lot of us would like to just enjoy our hobbies without thinking about these things, but that isn't the world we live in. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
Acknowledge people for who they are. Acknowledge,
Getting angry.
I know, I'm like, ah!
Acknowledge me.
I know. No, but like really acknowledge everybody's viewpoint, how it infuses their art. Craft is an art. Let people express themselves through that art form. It's important. It's exciting. It's interesting. A quilt can be something so dynamic, so interesting. It can also keep you warm, you know? A basket can hold your fruit, but it can also tell a story about African past, you know? Really give credit in history and heritage to crafts and also to the people who are making them. So I have a couple of things to think about as a takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay, when you go into the crafting world, think about all of these things. Like, if you are an avid crafter and you go to your Instagram page, how many crafters of color do you follow? Right?
You.
Okay. You can follow me, Nnekay, at Instagram. It's,
It's
okay.
in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Look at them.
There's
They're
a lot
doing
of,
it. We're going to put it up in there.
There's like pictures of my daughter and things that I make. Buy them if I ever decide to make an Etsy page. Anyways.
See there, follow her.
How many crafters of colors do you follow, right? Do you have your own assumptions about crafters and the craft? Like, are you just assuming that one hand that's holding a perfectly like ceramic mug of tea is a white hand? Like, change those assumptions. Really try to branch out and accept that anybody can do. A lot of times people think that crafting is a purely feminine thing too. People from across the gender spectrum are involved in all sorts of crafts. Think of it that way. Think about the regular products of a good, like a production of a good, like I said before. Are you willing to pay more money or subscribe to that crafter just because of the wealth indicators, right? And when I say wealth indicators, I have a line from the New Yorker article that I want to bring up.
I read that too. Not this, but I read.
Okay, good.
Online.
Cool.
I just do it too.
know.
You're so
I was like, you
smart. I'm
read
trying
this,
to keep up.
You're
No,
smart too.
I did not read that crafting
This
article.
is a smart space. Everybody's smart.
Even you.
That felt patronizing, but let's keep it going.
I'm trying to LeVar.
Okay, so
I'm trying to LeVar Burton this. I'm trying to get on Jeopardy.
Okay, so here's a sentence. Okay, so they're talking about a specific sweater that was made. That was like the hip shit, right? And they go, the sweater that I fell in love with on Instagram was worn by a member of the tribe that I referred to as organic moms. Their food is organic, their clothes are organic, their toys are wooden, their children are homeschooled or Waldorf or world travelers. Look at your crafters that you follow. Wooden toys are an indicator of wealth. Homeschooling these are generally indicators of wealth. Very expensive things that if they're like, oh, okay, go ahead, sit down, make yourself some tea out of this, use some manuka honey to put in your tea. Like things like that. Move away from those indicators or at least
The
try
red
to mix it
flags.
up. Yeah. Because these are the types of circles that usually aren't accepting to crafters of color.
Right.
So
They're
open it
so
up.
they're so post-racial that they're actually just racist.
Yes.
Sometimes people go so far on that, like,
That 360, man.
Oh, you're back, right?
Yep.
Even on that political spectrum, some people are so far to the left that to me, they're on my right. They go right around that circle.
Ooh, I like that phrase. Well, that's my corner.
Okay, well, she did the damn thing, okay?
know.
Do we have
Yes,
time
I
for a
did.
Quizlet corner? Are we doing a Quizlet? We're doing a Quizlet. Let's do it.
Yeah. Are we going right into it?
Let's do our song.
Quizlet corner, Quizlet corner. Ha, Quizlet, 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 Quizlet corner.
300 episode. Will she get it right?
Yes.
Oh,
Can
okay.
I'm gonna take a sip of my beer.
She need that smart juice. All right, so this is Quizlet Corner. I don't know if anyone's still online. Is it? It's just Darcy. Okay. All right. Hi, Darcy and Snacks. Or Aaron. Nope, he's right there. Aaron Mills. All right, thanks for paying attention. All right, so if you're in the chat thread, you can join on in. So we have a Quizlet corner.
Yeah.
These are just from the headlines. One of these are not true.
Okay.
And Nnekay has to guess which one is not true.
Yes.
Number one, Tyler Perry said, winning the Humanitarian Award at the Oscars, I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LBGTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian. Could be true or could not be true.
Tyler Perry said this?
As he said, winning the Oscar of the Humanitarian Oscar. Could be true, could not be true.
Okay.
An image of Ted Cruz in full BDSM attire is circulating on the internet,
Blech.
and my eyes can't unsee it.
What?
Could be true, could not be true. The University of Howard said, nope, enough of that, and is canceling its classics department. Could be true, could not be true. And lastly, both Will Smith's Emancipation movie and Ryan Coogler's Black Panther 2 are pulling out of Georgia due to its racist Jim Crow 2.0 voting restriction laws. Which one of these is not true? If you're watching on the chat thread, Aaron Sarzan says that he knows. Oh, Maureen,
Yeah,
Chris
there's a bunch of people that are here.
Hi, Maureen.
Look at
Chris.
you shaming these people into saying
No,
hello to us.
No one's here. It's
I know.
just us in the studio.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Meanwhile, people are going to be listening to this as an actual podcast too.
Being like, well, but in the chat thread, you can join on in. Which one do you?
No,
think it
I
is?
want to
You can-
guess though. I don't want no
You
clues.
don't have your glasses.
I can read it.
Don't read over there.
Okay.
But
I know.
Okay, you look away. I want to see what they're saying. What do y'all think? Aaron Sarazan said that he knows which one is true.
Nobody knows.
Okay, I'm seeing some guesses in there. Don't read.
I already know.
Oh, you've got an answer?
Yes.
All right. So we're seeing some. Someone said the last one. Sergio said the last one.
Hi, I get a hello. Finally, somebody said hello to me.
They've been seeing, but you just couldn't see. Oh.
Yay.
You know what? Honestly, we will say though, Lori, lovely Lori. Lori was like, "Oh, there's a chat thread. Do you want to see?" I think I'm so traumatized from like social media that I was like, "I don't want to see it. What are they
No.
saying?" And then there's all this wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
over
but
here.
I mean, also.
Someone guessed the second one. and
Okay, but
someone
here's the
definitely said
thing,
last
though.
one.
Here's the
What do you
thing. The
think?
reason that I didn't necessarily want to see the chat is because you go on Instagram Live and it's just a bunch of people staring at the screen, being like, "Oh, hi, thanks, hi, yeah, oh, hello."
And that'd be the whole show. Be like,
Hi.
because even
And
now,
look at you,
now
you
that
got
it's a-
sucked in.
now
You were
that it's a
saying hello to the
Pandora's box,
screen.
I'm just like,
You were
oh my
just
God,
full
look
on
what-
looking at
hi,
the screen.
Sarah. I'm not even looking
saying
at
hello.
Nnekay.
I know.
You're right. It's a
And there's
Pandora's
not
box.
even a camera. The camera's looking at you looking off camera.
I don't have time for the camera. I got to look at what the fans are saying.
Okay, so here's the thing.
What?
It's the last one because I know for a fact that Black Panther 2 is being filmed in Atlanta because Ryan Coogler penned a whole ass letter for the Atlantic saying why he's staying there.
I thought I was gonna get you. She's right.
Uh-huh.
She's right. She is right. Yes. But Will Smith's Emancipation movie is moving.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one is.
Okay.
And in fact, that was like he was like, I'm out of here. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if Marvel will follow suit because they got their studio up in Georgia.
Right.
And then Ryan Coogler said no, that he's gonna stay, and he actually said that having spoken with voting rights activists in the state, that I've come to understand that many people employed by the film, including the local vendors and businesses we engage in, that they would lose out. A lot of the black business owners would lose out.
I see both because it's like one side, it's like you want, clapping emoji, thank you. You want the.
See, the listeners are like,
I
what?
know, they're like,
Who's
we're looking at
clapping?
the thing. It's a Morgan Freeman clapping for me. So you want people to be getting the jobs, but you also want to give a point to that state that you can't be doing that. So I see both.
Well, and I think like the state just needs to like stop acting a fool, right? That's the biggest thing, right?
Yes.
So I do think, and I think, yeah, it's a tough situation. I agree with both of them. I don't have a hard stance on it. You know, I appreciate that they're going to be getting some money, but I do think like I hope the conversation continues to go. And I know Ryan Coogler is going to do that.
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
I've met him, so on the Black Panther red carpet, no big deal. But I was curious about your thoughts about this. Howard is canceling the classics department, and they are one of the last historically Black universities with a classics department.
Okay, but
they're still going to offer classes.
What are the classics? Like, is it like
Shakespeare? In Plato, like the Greek. I think part of the issue is like it's a bunch of old dead white guys, right? Yeah. I wonder though, would it be better to just broaden what the classics are? So adding in like Confucius and adding in, African writers.
I'm almost of the mindset of not calling anything classics because then it gives preferential treatment to a group. So, and you're always going to be leaving people out.
Yeah.
So I think you just say, oh, this is Western European ancient writings or whatever. And then you have like your ancient, I'm saying ancient, but it isn't ancient,
Yes, I
it's because I'm Gen Z.
Right.
I'm so young.
You're not.
But so...
Sorry, that came out way too fast.
That was harsh.
Well, because I just started thinking about the show.
Says damn James on the chat.
I just was thinking about that generation show, and I was like, but you're older than them, and you went to school. Anyways, I agree with your point. I think you're right, girl.
Thanks. You're a couple years behind me.
Well,
I
mean, I'm down there. You were like a senior when I was a freshman in college. Okay, last Quizlet. That's not true.
I was a junior.
I know.
Okay, no, but yeah. So I think that they should bundle it in region and not have preferential treatment to groups.
You are okay. All right, I'm there with you. You're in academia.
As an academic,
you are. I will say though, yes, there is that. It's not a real picture of Ted Cruz and BDSM, but I can't unsee it. And there is questions about. I think Tyler Perry mispronounced the LB. He called it the LBGTQ. And I don't know, just equating like I don't hate police officers because of their police officers, or I don't know.
That was weird.
But also, he has a lot of homophobic stuff in some of his movies, so I want him to come correct. Like, people evolve and change. I give space and grace, so I look forward to your next Medea movie where, like, I don't know, she's dating a woman or something. I don't know. I would like to see, or maybe he doesn't need to play Medea.
You're giving.
Space and grace.
Yeah. I mean, he saved Meghan Markle and Prince Harry when they came over here.
He did. So, see, and he
I'm not
owns
saying
a
it's
studio,
okay.
But he also owns a studio lot. And
he gives a lot of Black
big
people jobs.
You know what?
Side-eye your heroes.
He's not my hero, but he is for some people.
I'm side-eyeing him.
You can side-eye anybody. You don't need to side-eye your heroes, but especially your heroes. Okay, last Quizlet. You got 1 point for that.
Oh, that was...
This one...
I thought we just did it.
It's 500 points.
Oh, there's more. Oh my God, I'm not ready.
In response to George, could be true, could not be true.
Oh, yeah, thanks for telling me.
Because sometimes I'll just be going through and you're like, what's true or false? Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Last one.
Okay.
In response to George Floyd's, the murder, the trial verdict, the Las Vegas Raiders tweeted, "I can breathe" for 2021. Hearing some heavy breathing from the audience already. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association, a.k.a. the Golden Globes, is such a hot mess that the real Olivia Pope left. Could be true, could not be true. New York State Senate denies the petition to declare December 18th DMX Day. Could be true, could not be true. America's most toxic jar of mayonnaise, Tucker Carlson, and white supremacist propaganda machine, once belonged to the Dan White Society, a fan club for Harvey Milk's assassin.
Oh my God. Wow.
And last one.
This is like a dark one.
The Sunday, the headline of this, which one of these not terrible things is not true? That was the headline of it. Buried the lead.
Yeah.
I forgot to warn you, these are all terrible. Oh, I meant to do this one first. Oh, well. The Sunday Times of South Africa asked Daniel Kaluuya after his Oscar win, what was it like to work with Regina King on his film, and what did it mean for the community? Which one of these is not true?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're ending on a sour note. Forgot to warn you.
I know.
You can't, it's too didactic. It's too, you can't wrap it up for the audience in a pretty little bow. Racism, homophobia, it still exists.
Okay.
Audience, what do you say? What do you
yeah.
think?
Okay, I could talk this through. I could do like a Slumdog Millionaire of this.
Yeah, you can do. Which one are you leaning towards? And audience, what are you thinking? Which
Okay.
one of those is not true?
Okay, DMX Day is untrue.
Says one person, but we don't know what he know. We don't know what Aaron Sars. Like, who's Aaron? We don't know.
You know what? I have to agree with the DMX Day because the DMX Day, they said it was for this past couple of, like, it was like a couple of days, right? Like, it wasn't actually December 18th. Okay, it's not the DMX one. It is.
I didn't say anything.
I-
You cannot read my face. You don't know what does this mean?
I don't This is terrible for the podcast.
It's just, can they hear the sounds of me making faces?
Okay, I know that they would make a DMX Day. I know that Tucker Carlson is terrible.
Yes.
I know that no. What were the other ones? There's
In response to George Floyd's
Oh,
the verdict, Las Vegas Raiders tweeted, "I can."
That's
breathe."
true. I know
Okay.
that's true.
It is true. So I'll help check these. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy with the owner of the Raiders, he is the one that actually wrote that tweet.
And they're already doing Las Vegas Raiders. Also makes me want to throw up.
I mean, I was never really. I went to one Raiders game and it
But
was
that's
terrifying.
money for the Oakland community.
True.
And they needed a stadium. They're the only football team that still has a stadium built from the 70s.
I mean,
And
yeah,
it
it would be
shows.
nice.
I got
Yeah.
vaccinated.
I
All right,
know.
what's your answer? I need a final answer.
Ah, damn it.
What do you say? What are you going with?
Let's go with the Daniel Kaluga one, even though I feel like that one is true.
That one is true.
I knew it. Then it's the DMX one.
You're right. you
See?
you get no points.
But I was right.
But you got a point. So I think you got the highest score. So you won.
Yay!
But
Do.
I do. Here's the fucked up
Do,
thing
do,
about
do.
the South African journalist. What can you highlight though for extra bonus points?
Yeah.
What is fucked up about what the journalist said? Do you know what the fucked up thing about it is?
If you worked with Regina
No,
King.
they said what was it like essentially to work with Regina King?
I don't get. Well, they'd never worked together.
Correct. That's the fucked
Yeah,
up thing.
I
Is they're like,
know.
oh yeah, you won an Oscar. It must have been for that Regina King movie because all black people look alike. Essentially thinking that he was in One Night in
But
Miami.
are you surprised about South Africa?
No, I'm not. But at least, hey, before we go side-eyeing South Africa, at least they had truth and reconciliation. Still waiting, America. Still waiting for some truth and reconciliation. Can we get that going? You cannot have healing without truth and
I
reconciliation.
mean, I agree 100%.
This podcast is part of truth and reconciliation. Are we shaking hands? Because the white folks just listening. Yep, and the Hollywood Foreign Press, the real-life Olivia Pope, Judy Smith, Hollywood Foreign Press weren't taking her advice. Mind you, the Hollywood Foreign Press, there's no black people sitting on their members.
They're a mess.
They sell out. They sell out to swag. If you're like, oh, come watch Emily in Paris
Yeah,
over here in
I
Paris.
know.
And they weren't taking her advice. She is the real life Olivia Pope, who Olivia Pope was based on, and they weren't taking her advice. And she and her company were like, we're out. Smith and Company's out.
I mean, you heard about the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press was like quoted in saying
He referred to Black Lives Matter as a racist movement. Former
Mess.
president. But that just goes to show, fuck the Golden Globes. That was the one award
I know.
I was the most excited to win one day. I don't want it. Take it back.
I mean,
Give me a
any award
BAFTA.
show where you can have some cocktails and get a little boozy.
The
But
Oscars were like that this year.
the
So I
Oscars
saw.
were dry.
I just saw
That was-
Glenn Close shaking up her thing.
I love
Anyways,
Glenn Close.
Nominated 9 times, still hasn't won, but we love her.
Unproblematic. Talked
Mm-hmm.
about smoking weed on Deezus and Marrow on Showtime.
We're here for it. Well, Nnekay, you did it.
James!
You got a point. And that was our 300th episode right there.
Man, we did it.
In the can.
Wonder
300
Twins,
more to go.
activate.
We are the Wonder Twins of podcasting. This has been so much fun. I just want to thank all of our folks out there. Let us know if you.
You gotta look at the
Oh,
camera.
I got it. I'm sorry. I'm looking. I wanted to thank the watchers out there for joining in on the chat thread.
Yeah.
Sergio just wanted to point out I told you in all
Wow.
caps.
I mean, and there's a
so-
DMX gift.
Yeah, so all the sort of things there. But I also want to say that we do have the Maximum Fun Drive coming up soon that you can participate in to become a member. Subscribe to our podcast. You can listen to our episodes every Friday. They launch. They are there. Sometimes Nnekay is there too.
Yeah, I come about once a month.
I try to get you in there.
Yeah,
Because the
and
kids
then-
love hearing you.
But here's the thing, though. You have so many awesome, amazing hosts that come on. I have to say this. You have taken this podcast to such a high level that I am so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. I am just happy to be able to come back, trot my little tired, withered soul up on here, bring my bags, and say,
And
"You all remember, I helped create this."
Oh, you never let
and
them
so,
forget.
of course not. I'm gonna wear a shirt that says it every time I'm on.
I made
this with
And
James.
then you made that shirt too.
Yeah, we conceived this together.
We did.
But you have fostered the growth of it into something incredible and beautiful. So I just want to give props to all the other hosts. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to do the live. I'm happy to see all the familiar faces and names that came up on the chat. And James, I love you.
Oh, I love you too. You're like my sister friend. This has been such an amazing journey. I know that for both of us, we've grown so much through doing this podcast. It has been such a great journey. 300 episodes. I am just so grateful to all of the listeners. To everybody here at Oasis, I want to thank Lori Fowler, Aaron Mills, Darcy Jolinger, Snacks. See, you were on my card. I was going to thank you, Snacks. I want to thank Lorraine, Sam Jackson, Sarah Brown, and just all of you listeners. Again, subscribe. New episodes hit every Friday. And thank you all for watching Minority Corner, because together
We're the majority.
Yeah!